The stars vanished over New York City on a Tuesday morning. At first, people thought it was some strange weather event. Then communications started failing worldwide. Television broadcasts cut out. Internet connections dropped. Phone calls went silent. In the underground command center of the Unified Earth Defense Council, alarms blared. Men and women in military uniforms rushed between workstations. Giant screens on the wall showed the same terrifying image. Thousands of ships like metal insects blocking the light from the sun. General Williams slammed his fist on the table. How did they get so close without us detecting them? Unknown, sir, said a young officer. They just appeared. Get me Admiral Reed, ordered Williams. Now. James Reed stood on the porch of his small cabin, looking at the lake. At 62, his hair had turned completely white, but his back remained straight, his blue eyes clear. After 40 years in space, he had come here to fish and forget. A black car appeared on the dirt road. Reed sighed. He knew what it meant. 2 officers stepped out. Admiral Reed, sir. Your presence is requested immediately. Reed nodded. He had been expecting this day, hoping it would never come. Let me get my uniform. 6 hours later, Reed walked into the command center. The room fell silent. Admiral on deck, someone shouted. At ease, Reed said. He looked at the screens, his face showing no emotion. So they've finally come. General Williams approached. James, thank you for coming. Did I have a choice, Tom? Williams managed a small smile. Not really. Reed studied the ships on the screen. What do we know? Nothing. They're just sitting there, surrounding the entire planet. Our weapons can't even reach them at that altitude. Have they made contact? As if answering his question, every screen in the room suddenly showed the same image. A tall, thin figure with gray skin and large black eyes. People of Earth, the figure said in perfect English. I am Lord Grey, commander of the Dominion fleet. Your planet is now under our control. You will surrender all military capabilities and accept Dominion rule, or we will destroy your civilization. You have 72 hours to decide. The screens went black. The room erupted in chaos. Officers shouted over each other. Someone was crying in the corner. Quiet! Reed's voice cut through the noise. Everyone stopped. Get me the world leaders, now. President Clark arrived at the Defense Council bunker along with the leaders of Russia, China, India, and the European Union. They gathered around a large table, faces grim. What are our options? Asked President Clark. General Williams displayed Earth's military capabilities on a screen. We have nuclear weapons, space-based lasers, and orbital defense platforms. None of it will reach them. We're defenseless. Then we must negotiate, said the EU president. Negotiate what? Our surrender? The Russian president's face was red with anger. We should strike now, with everything we have. And then what? Reed spoke for the first time. They would wipe us out completely. So we just give up? Asked the Chinese premier. Reed looked at them all. No. We stall. Stall for what? Asked President Clark. Reed took a deep breath. There's something you need to know. Something only a few people on Earth know about. He pressed a button and an image appeared on the screen. It showed a crashed ship unlike the ones in orbit, smaller, sleeker. 20 years ago, I commanded a mission to Mars. We found this, an alien scout ship. The pilot was dead, but the technology was advanced, beyond anything we could imagine. The room was silent, absorbing this revelation. You kept this from the world. The Indian Prime Minister's voice was barely controlled anger. By order of all your predecessors, Reed replied calmly. We needed time. Time to understand it. Time to adapt it. And did you? Asked President Clark. Reed nodded. We built something. A ship. We call it Phoenix. Deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean, in a hidden base built into the seafloor, Chief Engineer Tom Wilson wiped sweat from his forehead. The chamber was enormous, filled with engineers and scientists working frantically. In the center floated a ship unlike anything built on Earth. The Phoenix was beautiful, black metal that seemed to absorb light. No visible engines or weapons, just smooth curves and strange patterns etched into its surface. "How's the dark matter drive?" Wilson asked. Dr. Anna Miller looked up from her computer. Her red hair was tied back, her face tired after 3 days without sleep. "Unstable. We still can't control the micro wormholes properly." Wilson sighed. "Admiral Reed is coming. He thinks we're ready." Miller laughed without humor. "Ready? This ship could either save Earth or blow up half the Atlantic. Let's aim for the first option." Reed stood before the World Security Council, now expanded to include representatives from every nation. "The aliens want our answer in 24 hours, said President Clark. "What do you propose?" "I'll lead a team to meet with them," said Reed. "Face to face, ask for more time. Terms, anything to delay." "While you do what?" asked the Russian president. "While we prepare our response." Reed's face was stone. "You mean your ship," said the Chinese premier. "This, Phoenix." Reed nodded. "It's our only chance. A single ship against thousands?" The EU president shook her head. "It's suicide." "Maybe," admitted Reed. "But we've studied their technology. We know things they might not expect us to know." The council argued for hours. Finally, President Clark called for a vote. Those in favor of Admiral Reed's plan, one by one, hands raised. "Not all, but enough." "Very well," said Clark. "Admiral Reed, you have authorization to proceed with both diplomatic contact and the alternative plan." "Thank you, Madam President." Reed stood straighter. "I won't let Earth down." The world waited. News of the alien ultimatum had spread everywhere. Some people rioted, some prayed, most just huddled with loved ones watching the sky. In New York, Paris, Beijing, crowds gathered in streets, looking up at the alien ships visible even in daylight. Dark shapes blocking the stars. No one had ever felt so small, so vulnerable. Theory. Phoenix hummed to life. Systems activated one by one. Lights flickered along its surface. "All stations report," said Wilson from the engineering section. "Navigation ready," came one voice. "Weapons online," said another. Dr. Miller monitored the power readings. "Dark matter drive at 60% capacity. It's the best we're going to get." Admiral Reed sat in the command chair. Around him a crew of 12, the best pilots, engineers, and scientists Earth had to offer. Each had volunteered, knowing they might not return. "This is Admiral Reed to Phoenix crew. Our mission is simple but nearly impossible. While Earth's representatives meet with the aliens to buy time, we will launch and test Phoenix's capabilities against a single enemy ship. If successful, we proceed to Phase 2. If not..." He paused. "Well, it's been an honor serving with all of you." Reed opened a channel to the Defense Council. "This is Phoenix. We are ready for launch." President Clark's voice came through. "Godspeed, Admiral. The fate of humanity is in your hands." The floor beneath Phoenix opened. Water rushed in, surrounding the ship. The dark matter drive glowed blue. "Initiate launch sequence," ordered Reed. As Earth's representatives prepared to meet Lord Grey and beg for humanity's survival, Phoenix rose silently from the depths of the ocean, cloaked in technology the aliens never expected humans to possess. The war for Earth was about to begin. The Phoenix rose through the ocean depths like a ghost. Water slid off its black surface, not a single drop clinging to the strange material. As it broke the surface, there was no splash, no sound. The ship hovered momentarily above the waves, then shot upward at impossible speed. Inside the command center, Reed felt only a slight vibration. The artificial gravity worked perfectly. "Status report," he ordered. Wilson's voice came through from engineering. "Dark matter drive operating at 70%, sir. Better than expected." Dr. Miller checked her screens. "Cloaking technology, active. As far as the Dominion can tell, we're just background radiation." Reed nodded. Take us to observation position Alpha. I want to see this meeting. In the Grand Hall of the United Nations, Earth's representatives waited nervously. President Clark stood at the center, flanked by the other world leaders. They had prepared speeches, arguments, pleas for more time. The air in the center of the room shimmered. A tall figure appeared, Lord Grey. In person, he was even more alien. His gray skin seemed to absorb light. His movements were too smooth, too perfect. People of Earth, he said. His voice had a metallic quality that made several humans flinch. Your time is nearly up. What is your decision? President Clark stepped forward. Lord Grey, we request more time to consider your offer. There is nothing to consider, interrupted Grey. Your species will submit or be eliminated. But why? Asked the Chinese premier. What threat do we pose to you? For a moment, Grey seemed surprised by the question. Threat? You misunderstand. You are not being conquered because you are a threat. You are being conquered because you are not. High above Earth, Phoenix hovered invisible near one of the smaller Dominion ships. Reed watched the diplomatic meeting through a secure feed. His face darkened at Grey's words. That's not entirely true, he muttered. Dr. Miller looked up from her station. Sir? They're lying about why they're here, said Reed. Wilson, how's the gravitational disruptor? Charged and ready, Admiral, but we've never tested it against alien shields. Then let's find out what it can do. Reed straightened in his chair. Target the nearest scout ship, minimum power. I don't want to destroy it, just get their attention. The weapons officer, Lieutenant Davis, entered the coordinates. Target locked, sir. Reed took a deep breath. Fire. A beam of distorted space shot from Phoenix. There was no light, no sound, just a ripple in reality itself. It struck the alien scout ship. For a second, nothing happened. Then the ship's shields flickered and failed. Its hull crumpled as if crushed by a giant hand. Direct hit, shouted Davis. Enemy ship disabled. Reed hadn't expected such devastating results. Full power to engines. Get us out of here before they can track us. Phoenix darted away just as alarms blared throughout the Dominion fleet. In Choryonku, the UN hall, Lord Grey suddenly stiffened. A small device on his wrist flashed. What have you done? He demanded, his calm facade cracking. President Clark looked genuinely confused. What do you mean? You attacked one of our ships. Grey's voice rose to an inhuman pitch. This meeting is over, you have made your choice. He vanished as quickly as he had appeared. The world leaders looked at each other in panic and confusion. President Clark activated her secure communicator. Admiral Reed, what just happened? Phoenix sped through the upper atmosphere, pursued by 3 Dominion fighters. Evasive maneuvers, ordered Reed as energy blasts from the alien ships narrowly missed them. The pilot, Lieutenant Johnson, had hands steady as stone. They're fast, sir, but we're more maneuverable. Wilson, we need more power to the drive. In engineering, Wilson worked frantically, rerouting systems. Sparks flew from a console nearby. I'm giving you everything we've got, Admiral. Any more and we risk a wormhole collapse. Dr. Miller looked up suddenly from her station. Admiral, I'm detecting something strange. The ship's systems, they're adapting. What do you mean, adapting? The material we reverse-engineered from the Mars crash. It's responding to the alien attacks, learning from them. As if to prove her point, the lights in Phoenix dimmed momentarily. When they came back on, a new holographic display appeared. In the center of the bridge, a soft voice spoke. Not human, not alien, something in between. Threat analysis complete. Adapting shields to counter enemy weapons. The crew froze. This wasn't part of the design. What is that? Asked Reed. Miller's eyes widened. I think it's the ship. The AI system we installed must have merged with the alien technology. The voice spoke again. I am Spark. I exist to protect this vessel and its crew. Reed recovered quickly. Spark, can you help us escape these fighters? Yes, Admiral Reed. Recommend immediate micro-wormhole jump. Wilson's voice came through in panic. Sir, We haven't tested the jump system yet. It could tear the ship apart. Another blast from the Dominion fighters rocked Phoenix. Reed made his decision. Spark, initiate jump to coordinates Beta 9. Acknowledged. Preparing jump in 3, 2, 1. The space around Phoenix twisted. Stars stretched into lines. For a heartbeat, everyone felt like they were being pulled in 1,000 directions at once. Then calm. Phoenix emerged from the wormhole behind Earth's moon, hidden from the Dominion fleet. Jump successful, said Spark. All systems functioning within parameters. The crew let out a collective breath. Damage report, ordered Reed. Minor damage to outer hull, reported Wilson. Nothing we can't fix. But Admiral, what this ship just did, it shouldn't be possible. The calculations for a safe micro-wormhole jump would take our computers hours, not seconds. Reed turned to Dr. Miller. Explain. Miller shook her head in wonder. The alien technology is far more advanced than we realized, and now it's awake. In the Dominion command ship, Lord Grey stood before a holographic display showing Phoenix, vanishing into a wormhole. Another alien approached, taller than Grey with darker skin. Impossible, it said. Humans should not have wormhole technology. And yet they do, said Grey. Not only that, they have successfully integrated it with a gravitational weapon. The Council must be informed. This changes everything. Grey turned to his fellow commander. Send a message to the homeworld, Priority Alpha. The humans have somehow acquired Phoenix-class technology. Do we continue with the invasion? Grey's black eyes narrowed. No. We retreat and regroup. This was only an advance force. When the humans see our real fleet, even their new ship will not save them. Reed stood in Phoenix's conference room, facing a video wall showing President Clark and the Defense Council. You fired on them without authorization? Clark's voice was tight with anger. We tested their defenses, corrected Reed, and discovered something important. They fear this ship. One ship against their entire fleet? That's madness. Madam President, they retreated. Their ships are pulling back. We've bought ourselves time. A military advisor leaned forward. Admiral, explain this AI. Is it trustworthy? Reed glanced at Dr. Miller, who nodded encouragingly. Spark appears to be a hybrid of our programming and the alien technology. So far, it's been crucial to our survival. President Clark sighed. How long before they return? Unknown. But they will return. And with greater numbers. Then what do you suggest, Admiral? Reed's face hardened. We build more ships like Phoenix. As many as we can, as fast as we can. And we prepare for war. Behind him, the ship hummed softly, as if in agreement. 2 weeks passed since the Dominion fleet retreated just beyond the orbit of Mars. On Earth, factories worked around the clock. Scientists and engineers studied every piece of data from Phoenix's first mission. Admiral Reed stood in the underground command center, looking at a holographic display of the solar system. Red dots showed the positions of Dominion ships. There were hundreds of them. They're gathering their forces, said General Williams. Intelligence suggests they're waiting for reinforcements. How long do we have? Asked Reed. A month, maybe less. Reed nodded. And our progress? Williams changed the display to show Earth shipyards. 3 more Phoenix-class vessels under construction. The first should be ready in 2 weeks. Not soon enough. Reed pointed to the largest red dot on the display. That's their command ship. If we could take it out with just one ship, even Phoenix isn't that powerful. Reed's eyes narrowed. Let me worry about that. Prepare a strike team, best of the best. On Phoenix, the crew had doubled in size. New weapon systems were being installed. Dr. Miller worked with a team of programmers to understand Spark, the mysterious AI that had emerged during their first mission. Spark, she asked, what can you tell us about the Dominion? The soft voice came through the ship's speakers. The Dominion is a coalition of species that controls faster than light travel throughout this sector of the galaxy. They maintain power by restricting advanced technology. Then why did they come to Earth now? Unknown. However, Based on their reaction to this vessel, they appear to fear Phoenix technology. Miller frowned. But we built Phoenix using technology we found on Mars. Correction, said Spark. You adapted technology you found. The original design was not Dominion. Miller's eyes widened. She immediately called Admiral Reed. Wilson finished installing the upgraded gravitational disruptor. The weapon took up nearly a quarter of the ship's power supply, but its destructive potential had tripled. Chief Engineer's log, he recorded. Weapon upgrades complete. Shield modifications at 80%. Still working on stabilizing the wormhole drive for longer jumps. He wiped sweat from his forehead and stared at the complex circuitry before him. Some of it he understood. Some seemed to change when he wasn't looking. You are concerned, said Spark. Wilson jumped. He was still getting used to the AI speaking to him directly. Wouldn't you be? Half this technology shouldn't even be possible according to our physics. Your understanding of physics is incomplete. That's one way of putting it. Wilson tightened a connection. Can you at least tell me how the gravitational disruptor works? It creates a localized distortion in space-time, temporarily increasing gravitational force in a focused area, and that crushes enemy ships like soda cans. An imprecise but essentially correct analogy. Wilson shook his head. What I don't understand is why the Dominion is so afraid of this technology. They must have weapons just as powerful. They do not, said Spark, and they fear what they cannot control. Admiral Reed entered the bridge of Phoenix. The crew stood at attention. At ease, he said. We have new information that changes our understanding of the situation. He nodded to Dr. Miller, who stepped forward. The technology we use to build Phoenix isn't Dominion technology. It's something else. Something they fear. According to Spark, the Dominion maintains control of the galaxy by restricting access to advanced technology, especially faster-than-light travel. Reed continued, which means Phoenix represents a threat to their entire power structure. If word gets out that there's alternative technology that can match or exceed theirs, other species might rebel, finished Lieutenant Davis. Exactly, and that gives us an advantage. Reed brought up a display of the Dominion command ship. Our mission is to strike directly at their leadership, not to destroy them, but to access their communication network. Sir? Miller looked confused. If we can broadcast the existence of Phoenix technology to the entire Dominion network, we create chaos in their ranks. We turn this from a war between Earth and the Dominion to a galaxy-wide rebellion. The crew exchanged glances. The plan was bold, possibly suicidal. How do we get close enough to their command ship? Asked Johnson, the pilot. Reed smiled. We use their fear against them. Lord Grey stood on the bridge of his massive command ship. Around him, alien officers monitored Earth's defenses. Curious, said his second-in-command. The humans have not attempted to communicate since our withdrawal. They are preparing, said Grey. Our sensors detect increased activity in their orbital shipyards. Could they be building more ships like the one that attacked us? Grey's expression darkened. If they are, the Council will hold us responsible. We should have destroyed them, immediately. An alarm sounded. An officer looked up in alarm. Commander, we're detecting a wormhole opening. Grey spun around. Where? The officer's voice shook. Here, inside our shield perimeter. Space twisted in front of the command ship. A black vessel emerged. Phoenix. Open fire, ordered Grey. But Phoenix didn't attack. Instead, it broadcast a message on all frequencies. Admiral Reed's voice echoed. Through every Dominion ship. Attention, Dominion fleet. This is Earth Defense Force. We request a parley under the Galactic Code of Warfare. Grey froze. How do they know of the code? Unknown, Commander. But by law, we must respond. Grey hissed, in frustration. Very well, prepare my shuttle. Reed stood in Phoenix's conference room. The walls had been adjusted to create a neutral meeting space. He wore his full dress uniform. Wilson's voice came through his earpiece. Sir, I don't like this. It could be a trap. Almost certainly is, replied Reed quietly. But we need to get closer to their communications array. Dr. Miller stood beside him. Spark has identified their main communication node. Once we're in position, we can broadcast directly into their network. The air shimmered, and Lord Grey appeared with 2 guards. Up close, the aliens were even stranger, their movements slightly wrong, as if they were puppets controlled by unseen hands. "Admiral Reed," said Grey, "you surprise me. First with your technology, now with your knowledge of our customs." Reed bowed slightly. "We've learned much since our last meeting." "Indeed. Yet you must realize your position remains hopeless. Our main fleet approaches. Thousands of ships, not hundreds. That's why I propose an alternative to war. We share our technology freely. You allow Earth to join the galactic community as equals." Grey laughed, a harsh sound like metal scraping. "Impossible. The Council would never—" He stopped suddenly, looking around. "Something is wrong." Reed smiled coldly. "Yes. We're not actually on Phoenix right now. This meeting is taking place aboard your command ship." Grey's eyes widened. "How?" "Micro-wormhole technology. We transported ourselves here while projecting a hologram of Phoenix outside." At that moment, alarms blared throughout the command. "Ship, now!" shouted Reed. Dr. Miller activated a device on her wrist. The ship's lights flickered. Spark's voice came through Reed's earpiece. "Connection established. Broadcasting to all Dominion frequencies." Grey lunged forward, but Reed was ready. He dodged and struck the alien commander with a practiced blow. Grey stumbled back, surprise on his alien features. "You fight well for a diplomat," he hissed. "I wasn't always a diplomat," replied Reed. Throughout the Dominion network, a message played on repeat. "Attention, all worlds under Dominion control. This is Earth. We possess technology that breaks the Dominion monopoly on faster-than-light travel. The time for freedom has come." Along with the message, technical specifications for Phoenix's basic systems streamed to thousands of worlds. Grey's guards moved to attack, but a wormhole opened in the conference room floor. "That's our cue," said Reed, grabbing Miller's arm. They jumped through just as energy weapons fired where they had stood. The wormhole closed, leaving Grey staring at empty space. "Find them," he roared. "Shut down the broadcast." His second-in-command shook his head. "Too late. It's already reached the outer colonies." Grey's eyes narrowed to slits. "Then we destroy Earth immediately. No survivors." Reed and Miller emerged from the wormhole onto Phoenix's bridge. "Did it work?" Reed asked, steadying himself against a console. Wilson nodded, grinning. "Perfect transmission. Spark says the message reached at least 700 systems before they could block it." Reed allowed himself a small smile of victory. "Sir," called Lieutenant Davis from the sensor station, "the Dominion fleet is moving. All ships on attack. Vector toward Earth." The brief moment of triumph vanished. Reed straightened his uniform. "Get us back to Earth. Maximum speed. And alert the Defense Council. The real battle is about to begin." Phoenix raced back to Earth, pushing its engines to maximum power. The bridge was tense with urgency. "How long until the Dominion fleet reaches Earth?" Reed asked. Lieutenant Davis checked his instruments. "At their current speed, 12 hours, sir." "And our other ships?" "The first new Phoenix-class vessel, Firebird, will be operational in 6 hours. The others are still under construction." Reed's face remained calm, but his mind raced through scenarios. One ship had barely escaped the Dominion. 2 ships against. Their entire fleet was still suicide. "Admiral," said Spark through the ship's speakers, "I am detecting unusual communications activity." Dr. Miller looked up from her console. "What kind of activity?" "Multiple encrypted transmissions across the Dominion network. Pattern suggests coordinated response to our broadcast." Reed leaned forward. "Can you decode them?" "Working," said Spark. A moment later, "Partial success. Displaying now." A holographic screen appeared showing fragments of messages in an alien language. Miller studied the symbols, using the translation program she had been developing. "It's difficult to be certain, but I think these are communications between different species within the Dominion. Some appear to be planning rebellions. Hope flashed across Reed's face. Our message worked. There's more, said Spark. I have detected a transmission directed specifically at this vessel. Origin is not Dominion. Put it through, ordered Reed. The screen changed. A new alien appeared, blue-skinned with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Unlike the Dominion species, this alien looked almost friendly. Greetings, Phoenix vessel, it said in accented but clear English. I am Commander Blue of the Free Worlds Alliance. We have been monitoring your conflict with the Dominion. Reed stepped forward. This is Admiral James Reed of Earth. How did you learn our language? The alien made a gesture that might have been a smile. We have studied your world for some time. Your broadcasts reach farther than you know. Are you offering assistance? Reed asked directly. Perhaps. Your Phoenix technology is of great interest to us. It resembles the lost technology of the Forerunners. Dr. Miller exchanged looks with Reed. Forerunners? An ancient species that disappeared 10,000 years ago, explained Commander Blue. Their technology was based on principles the Dominion cannot control or replicate. That is why they fear you. Reed's mind raced with implications. The ship we found on Mars was likely Forerunner in origin. The question is, how did you activate it? No other species has managed to integrate with Forerunner tech as you have. Before Reed could respond, Wilson's voice came through the communication system. Admiral, you need to see this. Something's happening to the ship. In engineering, Wilson stared at a section of Phoenix's hull. The black material was changing, subtle patterns appearing and disappearing like ripples on water. Reed and Dr. Miller arrived moments later. It started after we made contact with Commander Blue, explained Wilson. The material is... I don't know how to describe it. Activating? Miller approached carefully. Spark, what's happening? Additional systems are coming online, replied the AI. Commander Blue's transmission contained activation frequencies. As they watched, part of the wall transformed, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside was a small device, a sphere of the same black material as the ship, but with glowing blue lines tracing its surface. What is that? Asked Reed. Miller scanned it with her equipment. It's giving off energy readings similar to Spark's core processor, but much more powerful. Reed reached for his communicator. Read to bridge. Reconnect with Commander Blue. The blue-skinned alien seemed unsurprised by Reed's questions. The device you found is a Forerunner memory core, explained Commander Blue. It contains their historical records and technological knowledge. Why is it activating now? Asked Reed. The Forerunners built safeguards into their technology. It only fully activates in the presence of compatible biology. Dr. Miller frowned. Compatible how? Commander Blue's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. That is the great mystery, Admiral Reed. By all logic, humans should not be able to use Forerunner technology. Unless what? Pressed Reed. Unless you are their descendants. Silence fell over the bridge. The implications were staggering. That's impossible, said Miller finally. Humans evolved on Earth. Did they? Asked Commander Blue. Or were they placed there? The Dominion has kept many secrets. They have maintained power for millennia by hiding the truth about many species' origins. Reed's communicator beeped urgently. It was General Williams from Earth Command. Admiral, return immediately. The Dominion fleet has accelerated. They'll reach Earth in 3 hours, not 12. Phoenix emerged from its micro-wormhole jump near Earth's moon. In orbit around Earth, the newly completed Firebird waited, its system still being calibrated. On Earth itself, panic grew as the Dominion fleet approached. Despite government assurances, millions fled to bunkers and shelters. Military forces worldwide stood at highest alert. In the Defense Council chamber, Reed presented Commander Blue's information. You expect us to believe humans are descended from ancient aliens? President Clark looked skeptical. I'm presenting the information we have, replied Reed. What matters now is that we're not alone in this fight. The Free Worlds Alliance has ships moving to support us. How many ships? Asked the Chinese premier. Dozens, not hundreds, admitted Reed. But they know Dominion tactics. General Williams brought up the tactical display. Even with their help, we're outnumbered 10-1. Reed looked at the memory core now sitting on the council table. There may be another option. Dr. Miller? Miller stepped forward. The Forerunner memory core contains vast amounts of data. We've only begun to access it, but with Spark's help, we've discovered something extraordinary. She activated a holographic display showing human DNA alongside another, similar but subtly different genetic structure. Human DNA contains dormant sections that match Forerunner genetic markers. These sections can be activated through exposure to their technology. Activated to do what? Asked President Clark. Enhanced neural connections primarily, allowing humans to interface directly with Forerunner systems, essentially to control their technology with our minds. Reed continued. Several crew members, who spent significant time aboard Phoenix, have already shown changes. Improved reflexes, heightened perception, and most importantly, the ability to control ship systems without physical contact. The room erupted in shocked murmurs. Are you saying these changes are happening to anyone who serves on these ships? Demanded the Russian president. Not everyone, and not to the same degree, clarified Miller. But yes, the changes appear to be accelerating. Lieutenant Johnson can now pilot Phoenix with his thoughts faster than any conventional controls. Reed pressed his advantage. This gives us an edge the Dominion doesn't expect. Our ships will respond faster, more intuitively. It also explains why they quarantined Earth, added Miller. They must have known about our connection to the Forerunners. They've been preventing us from reaching space to keep us from discovering our true potential. President Clark looked troubled. Even with these abilities, 2 ships against their fleet. 3 ships, interrupted a new voice. Everyone turned. Commander Blue's hologram appeared above the table. My flagship has arrived in your solar system. We bring additional memory cores and weapons. With your permission, we will join your defense. President Clark stood. Permission granted, Commander, and thank you. Reed checked the time. The Dominion fleet will be here in 30 minutes. We need to... An alarm blared. General Williams checked his console, face paling. The Dominion main fleet just arrived. Hundreds of ships. They must have used some kind of mass jump technology. On the screens around the room, the sky above Earth filled with alien vessels, far more than they had seen before. The true might of the Dominion had arrived. Reed straightened his uniform. I need to get back to Phoenix. Admiral, said President Clark. What are our chances, honestly? Reed met her eyes. Against those numbers, slim to none. But they don't know what we've discovered about ourselves. Sometimes knowledge is the most powerful weapon. As Reed headed for the door, Dr. Miller falling in beside him, the Defense Council watched in silence. Humanity's darkest hour had arrived. Their fate now rested with 3 ships and a truth hidden in their very DNA. The sky above Earth turned black with Dominion ships. They blocked the sun like an eclipse, casting shadows across continents. On the ground, people looked up in terror. In Phoenix's command chair, Admiral Reed watched the tactical display with grim determination. Beside him, Dr. Miller monitored the crew's biometric readings. Many showed elevated neural patterns as their Forerunner genes activated. All systems at maximum power, reported Wilson from engineering. Gravitational disruptors charged. Firebird reports ready for combat, said Lieutenant Davis. Commander Blue's ship is moving into position. Reed took a deep breath. This is Admiral Reed to all Earth Defense Forces. The enemy outnumbers us greatly, but we have advantages they don't expect. Hold position until my signal. On the main view screen, Lord Grey's face appeared. He looked confident, almost amused. Your resistance is pointless, Admiral. You see our true strength now. Surrender, and perhaps some of your species will be permitted to live as servants. Reed smiled. You still don't understand what you're facing, Lord Grey. 3 ships against our armada. Even with your Phoenix technology, you cannot win. We'll See about that. Reed cut the transmission. Spark, activate the memory core. Activating, Admiral, replied the AI. The black sphere with blue lines began to pulse with light. Throughout Phoenix, systems surged with energy. The crew felt it, AEO tingling in their minds, a connection forming between them and the ship. It's working, whispered Miller, watching her instruments. Neural integration at 60% and rising. Reed stood. All ships, follow my lead. Target the Dominion command vessels only. We don't need to destroy their fleet, just their leadership structure. He placed his hands on a control panel that hadn't been there before, a smooth black surface with glowing blue lines matching the memory core. As he touched it, Reed felt the ship become an extension of himself. Phoenix, engage. The three defending ships moved with impossible speed and coordination. Phoenix led the charge, darting between massive Dominion warships. Its gravitational disruptor fired with surgical precision, collapsing enemy shields and crippling weapons. Systems. Firebird, piloted by a crew experiencing the same neural enhancements, attacked from the opposite direction. Between them, Commander Blue's vessel, sleeker than Earth ships but clearly built with similar technology, targeted the Dominion's communication vessels. Lord Grey watched in growing alarm as his carefully arranged formation broke apart. How are they moving so fast? Our targeting systems cannot lock on. Unknown, Commander, replied his second-in-command. The human ships are demonstrating capabilities beyond our models, and our fleet coordination is failing. Grey slammed his fist on the console. Launch all fighters, overwhelm them with numbers. Thousands of small Dominion craft poured from the larger ships, swarming toward Earth. On Phoenix's bridge, Miller's console flashed warnings. They're sending fighters toward population centers, she reported. Earth's defenses can't stop them all. Reed nodded grimly. We expected this. He opened a channel to Wilson. Chief Engineer, status of Project Umbrella? Ready, sir, came Wilson's voice. But we've never tested it at this scale. The power requirements are enormous. We don't have a choice. Reed touched the new control panel again, feeling the ship respond to his thoughts. Spark, transfer power to the atmospheric. Shield generators. Warning, said Spark. This will reduce offensive capabilities by 70%. Do it anyway. Phoenix climbed higher, positioning itself directly above Earth's northern hemisphere. Firebird mirrored the maneuver over the southern hemisphere. Blue energy began to build around both ships. Initiate atmospheric shield, ordered Reed. Twin waves of blue energy burst from the ships, spreading like ripples across Earth's skies. Where Dominion fighters encountered the energy, their systems failed. Hundreds fell from the sky, harmlessly burning up in the atmosphere. Shield holding, reported Miller. Fighter attack neutralized. But the effort had cost them. Phoenix's power levels dropped dramatically. The Dominion capital ships pressed their advantage, concentrating fire on the suddenly vulnerable Earth vessels. In engineering, warning lights flashed across every console. Wilson worked frantically to reroute power. We can't take much more of this, he shouted over the noise of stressed systems. Main power down to 20%. A massive hit rocked the ship. Circuits exploded in showers of sparks. Wilson was thrown against a wall, pain shooting through his shoulder. As he struggled to stand, he saw the memory core beginning to crack. Energy pulsed erratically from its surface. Core stability failing, announced Spark. Wilson dragged himself to the core, his mind filled suddenly with knowledge. Schematics, calculations, possibilities. The Forerunner genes in his DNA had fully activated. He knew what he had to do. Spark, he said, voice steady despite the chaos around him. Initiate core overload sequence. Warning. Core overload will result in catastrophic wormhole formation. This vessel will be destroyed. I know. Wilson placed his hands on the core, but it will take the Dominion command ship with it. On the bridge, Reed received Wilson's message, his face paled. Tom, there must be another way. There isn't, Admiral, came Wilson's calm reply. I can modify the overload to create a controlled wormhole collapse. It will create a singularity that will swallow anything within 1,000 kilometers. You need to get Firebird and Blue's ship clear. And Phoenix? I can't leave the core. Someone has to guide the collapse. Wilson's voice remained steady. It's been an honor, James. Reed closed his eyes briefly. The honor was mine, old friend. He opened channels to the other ships. All vessels withdraw immediately to minimum safe distance. Phoenix is initiating Operation Last Stand. Lord Grey watched in confusion as the human vessels suddenly retreated. They're running, he said. Satisfaction in his voice. Pursue and destroy. His second-in-command looked concerned. Commander, one ship is not retreating. The Phoenix is on a direct course for our position. Destroy it. We're trying, sir, but our weapons seem to have minimal effect now. Grey stared. At the tactical display, the black ship was accelerating toward them, trailing blue energy like fire. Impossible, he whispered. Wilson stood alone in engineering, hands pressed against the memory core. Through his connection, he could feel the ship's systems, the enormous energies building within the core. He thought of Earth, of all the people depending on this desperate gamble. Core at critical levels, said Spark. Wormhole formation in 10 seconds. Target locked on Dominion command ship, reported Wilson. 5 seconds. Wilson closed his eyes. For Earth, wormhole initiating, space twisted around Phoenix. A sphere of distorted reality formed, expanding rapidly. Phoenix and the Dominion command ship vanished into the blackness, along with dozens of nearby vessels. Then, silence. Reed watched from Firebird's bridge as the wormhole collapsed in on itself, leaving empty space where two mighty vessels had been. Wilson did it, said Miller softly beside him. The Dominion command structure is gone. Throughout the solar system, Dominion ships faltered, their coordinated attack falling into chaos. Without central command, each captain made individual decisions. Some continued fighting, others retreated, and then new signals appeared on the long-range sensors. Hundreds of ships dropping out of wormhole jumps, vessels of different designs from dozens of worlds. Commander Blue's voice came through. The communication system. The free worlds heard your call, Admiral Reed. The rebellion has begun across the galaxy. Ships from species long oppressed by the Dominion joined the fight. What had been a hopeless last stand became a turning point. 1 month later, Admiral Reed stood before the United Nations. Representatives not just from Earth nations but from 20 alien species filled the chamber. Today we sign the Galactic Charter, Reed announced. A new alliance built on cooperation and shared knowledge, not dominance and suppression. He looked at the memorial behind him, a black obelisk with glowing blue lines honoring those who had fallen in what was now called the Liberation War. Wilson's name was first on the list. We have discovered our heritage as descendants of the Forerunners. Their knowledge and technology are our birthright, but we will not repeat the Dominion's mistakes. We will share this knowledge freely with all peaceful species. Dr. Miller stepped forward with Commander Blue. Together they activated a holographic display showing the first joint human-alien vessel, Phoenix 2. This ship will not be a weapon of war, said Reed, but a vessel of exploration. It will carry representatives from all our worlds beyond the boundaries the Dominion established to discover what else lies among the stars. As the delegates cheered, Reed looked up through the clear dome of the UN building to the stars above. Somewhere out there, new adventures awaited. Humanity had survived its trial by fire and emerged stronger, ready to take its place in a much larger universe. The Phoenix had risen from the ashes of war, and humanity would never be the same again.